Peace, welcome, salam, welcome to another video. Today's video, what we're going to be doing is working or focusing on the word Sunnah in the light of the Quran. So it's totally from the Quran, taking the Quran as the only source for religious guidance. So we're going to look at the word Sunnah using the Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Let's move on. So the word Sunnah then. So obviously traditionally many Muslims today have been brought up to believe that all Muslims should follow the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. What we need to ask is, we need to ask the question, why? Now obviously we're asking the question why, and the Quran is clear on the word Sunnah and the usage of the word Sunnah within the Quran itself. Let's find out what this word actually means. Now, obviously, the way the Arabic works by using root letters, or root words, I should say. So root words are the Arabic letters that form the main part of a word. These root letters provide the basic meaning of a specific word. So the root letters are joined together with other letters to form different words with which have related meanings. So for example, in terms of Sunnah here, the root letters which form a part of the word Sunnah are Sin, Nun, Nun, as you can see from the presentation here. So the meaning of these root letters or root words are to mean to clean, seize with the teeth, establish a law, follow a path, form, so on and so forth. Now obviously you can verify all this information with Lane's lexicon, because that's exactly what I've used. I've used volume form. You go on and find out the information by clicking on the page numbers there, and you can also find out by clicking on the link here as well. Okay, and that will take you directly to the online version of Lane's lexicon. Obviously you've also got to keep in mind the context of what the verse is saying in the Quran, and also the context of the surrounding verses as well, to get to a definitive meaning for a specific word in the verse. So that is the root word of Sunnah there. So the word Sunnah then is used in the Quran many times, and it means the way of doing things, or a specific methodology, or a method. So the Arabic word for Sunnah is Sunnat, obviously, and you can verify this by going to Surah 17 verse 77, Surah 33 verse 38, 33:62, so on and so forth. Okay, so it means in all those verses God's way, God's method. Okay, now we're going to focus on Surah 17 verse 77 as an example to help your understanding, or our understanding. So this is a closer look at 1777. So what I've done here to help everybody is I've used the Arabic, I've used the word by word, I've used a transliteration, and I've used probably one of the most popular English translations out there, Sahih International. So I'm going to read the English Sahih International translation out. So, established way for those we had sent before you of our messengers, and you will not find in our way any alteration. So what that verse specifically is speaking about, God's way is a constant. God's way over the duration of the course of the years has not changed. There's no alteration. There's no, that straight path which is God's way, there is no deviation or alteration in God's way. The many messengers which God has sent down to us, they have followed God's way, and that way has been a constant. Okay, it has been the same way throughout. So it's the same consistent Sunnah throughout, and it's God's Sunnah. Nobody else's, God's Sunnah. That's one thing we've got to keep in mind and keep in our heads. So another verse which I wanted to focus on is Surah 33 verse 62. So again, I put in the Arabic, I put in the transliteration, I put in the English translation there, which is the Sahih International, probably the most popular one you can get again. So the established way of Allah with those who passed on before, and you will not find in the way of Allah any change. So this is talking about the Sunnah of God. So we can check the word Sunnah, Sunnata, the way of Allah with those who passed away before, and never you will find the way of Allah, sunnati, the way of Allah, any change. So basically, we read from this above verse, there is absolutely no alteration in the sunnah of God. And you can see the little spelling error there. It should be, there is no alteration, not there is not alteration. That is on me. I apologize about that one. So again, that's another example of a verse. You can verify this for yourself. The word sunnah is used in conjunction with the word God, and in God's sunnah there is no alteration. Okay, and that is the established way, the established method. Now I want to come back to that initial question, which many traditional Muslims use. You follow the Quran, follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. There is absolutely no reference whatsoever to the Sunnah of the Prophet. Absolutely no. And we need to check, or you need to check, the following verses to verify this. Surah 3, verse 137, Surah 4, verse 26, so on and so forth. In all of those you will find no references or anywhere else in the Quran for the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad at all. So in summary then, we have established God's Sunnah, the only Sunnah, the way, the method. God is consistent and in the Quranic use of the word Sunnah solely in conjunction with God, confirming God's Sunnah is as the only valid Sunnah, hence denouncing any beliefs in any other's Sunnah as basically shirk. Yeah, if you follow somebody in association with God, you're not following God alone, you're committing shirk by default. Okay, so, and this means why the Quran never uses Sunnah in connection with the Prophet Muhammad or any other messenger, because if God did, okay, automatically there's an association to follow Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah as well as God's, or Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah other than God's, automatically you're committing shirk. Okay, and the Quran is very obviously it's amazing in the way it's written, the linguistics of the Quran, and the use of Sunnah is cleverly inserted in there. And in terms of the Quran, it's God's Sunnah we're following, nobody else's. And this is again clarified in Surah 35 verse 43. I'll read it out to you again. I'll put the Arabic transliteration, the English Sahih International. Arrogance in the land and plotting of evil, but the evil plot does not encompass except its own people. Then do they await except the way of the former peoples, but you will never find the way of Allah any change, and you will never find the way of Allah any alterations. What this verse means, the following or the followers of the man-made Sunnah, including Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah, receive a stern warning in this specific verse, which uses the exact word Sunnah to depict the moral penalty they deserve. So basically, follow somebody's Sunnah except for God's, there will be a punishment there, because automatically you are committing shirk, to the point I was making earlier in this video. Okay, and I want to leave you thinking about the following. In Surah 35 verse 43 we've just read, the message is actually quite simple. If you play with fire, you will get burned through natural law in the same way as your predecessors. So you need to be very careful then. In terms of the word Sunnah, are we following the Quran and Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah? If we are, by default, you are committing shirk. Okay, obviously I've established in this video, the only Sunnah you should be following, the only way, the only method is God's method, God's law. Because over the generations, that method has been the same. There has been absolutely no alteration to God's method, God's way, God's Sunnah. And this has all been clarified in the Quran. I hope this video has helped. Please leave a comment below. If you have any other suggestions, any other usage of the word Sunnah you found which I haven't been able to show you today or haven't clarified today, please comment below, and hopefully inshallah I'll be able to do another video based on that. Thank you ever so much. Peace. Salam.